In this video, you're going to learn how to assemble a dropper rig for either live or cut bait fishing. And what a dropper rig is essentially a weight that's at the very bottom of the line, and then you go up to a hook that's a little bit higher up, which then goes up to either additional hooks or to really just the main line, which is where you're obviously connecting to your rod and reel. And the reason why this setup is really effective is if you're in an area that has some bottom structure and you're just trying to cover ground where you're trying to actually drag on the bottom without getting stuck, this is the rig to use. Because the reason why it's good is, again, the weight is what's obviously on the bottom, and the fact that this one is round, it is very unlikely to get snagged. And so what will happen as your weight's dragging, it's going to keep your hook, which is further up the line, it's going to keep your hook off the bottom, away from the snags, so that you can have your bait in the strike zone while covering ground without getting stuck. Because again, this weight is just going to bounce along the bottom. And the weight I typically use for this is kind of a teardrop shaped weight. They also make some that are almost like pencils that you can tie on the top, and those are even more weedless. But again, these I really haven't had any trouble getting them stuck, so I just stick with them. These are the easiest ones to find. But again, this is the type of rig that I really like for prospecting areas for bottom fishing where I know there's going to be some sort of structure, whether it's oysters or rocks or even tree limbs. This is the way to go. And for this type of rig, I highly recommend, these are circle hooks. Really recommend circle hooks because with circle hooks, you don't have to set the hook. And once you do feel the strike, if you're setting the hook with a J hook, you're going to lose some of your power in the weight because your weight is going to have some tension on it just from the friction on the ground. So highly recommend circle hooks for safety for you, better conservation for the fish, and a higher percentage of actually hooking the fish when you do get a strike. And one final tip before I show you exactly how to make this complete rig is I highly recommend using a loop to connect to your weight, because what that allows for, it allows you to take your weight on and off really fast, really quickly without retying. So I just took my weight off. If I was fishing a deeper drop off or a shallower ledge, I could quickly change my weights again without retying. So this is how long it takes just to put one on. So put the loop through, go back around, and there we are. The weight's ready to go. I can make a cast. In this video, you're going to see how to tie a complete dropper rig with only using one basic knot that is actually very strong yet easy to tie, where even children can do. And we're going to start from the very beginning. What you see here are this is the main line, this is the lighter line going up to the reel, and this is the leader line. So we're going to do a line-to-line connection. And the only thing to be mindful of is before you start tying this knot is that you have to first cut your leader to the desired length. In this case, I have about a 2-foot leader. And the reason why you have to cut it first is that you have to thread the leader line through a loop. So it's important, first of all, to cut it at the desired length. Second of all, to not have anything tied to it, because that would just complicate things. So again, we have in our left hand the entire leader, which is about 2 foot in length. And this is, both lines are mono, and on the right hand is we have a lighter line that's connected to the reel. And so what we're going to do is we're going to overlap the two, and we're just going to overlap by anywhere from 4 to 5 inches, and hold the lines together so that they're just parallel to one another. And so what we're going to do next is we're going to just do a quick loop in the line. We're going to form a loop and then pinch it down with our right hand. We want to have the side with the leader open. So what we're going to do with this loop that we just created is that we're going to take this tag end, which is actually the tag end of the main line that's still going out toward the left, as well as the leader. We're going to thread them both through this loop. So we just go from the bottom, wedge them through there, and you're going to have to just thread the leader line through. You just saw the entire leader line just went through. So now we have really just a basic simple overhand knot where this is the leader tag, this is the main line over here toward the right, and then on the left we still have the main line tag shooting off to the left as well as the leader. So that is a single overhand knot, and what we're going to do is we're going to do that 2 more times, and that is literally it. So we're going to go through it once, thread the leader line through. So what we have now is really a traditional surgeon's knot, but I recommend doing this 1 more time because going 3 times does make an increase in breaking strength. I did this test for mono to mono and it did show positive results. So I highly recommend just going 1 more time. It just takes a second and it does increase the overall strength of the line. So once that's set, we then can simply just pull the lines together holding all 4 tags. You get a bit of a figure 8, and then just go ahead and just tighten it as much as you possibly can. And now that you have it as tight as you can when pulling all 4 strands, is just let go of the tag ends and then pull as hard as you can with just the main line to the actual leader to fully complete the knot. So that is the line-to-line knot. We are now done. We can now just trim the tags. You can cut them very close. This knot is not going anywhere. And as I said before, it is surprising how strong this knot really is. Now that we have our line-to-line connection formed, we're going to go to the very end of the leader, and we're going to get it ready so that we can attach this weight to the end of the leader in a way that we can actually adjust weight sizes without retying anything. And how we do that is with a loop knot. So let's get started. So for this loop, we're going to completely disregard the weight. We're just going to focus on the line. Again, this is the tag end of the line. And what we're going to do is we're going to get the tag and we're going to double it over. And again, just about 4 to 5 inches is ideal. And what we're going to do here is what you'll notice is that we now have 2 strands of line very similar to before. And what we're going to do is with the very end of it, at the end of the loop, just kind of pinch that down, and that'll just help keep everything in line. And so now that we have this doubled over line, which again is just that one tag end overlapping the main part of the leader, is we're going to do exactly what we did before, which is really that double overhand knot, also known as a surgeon knot. So with the finger that is going off toward the rod and reel, I'm going to cinch down on those 2 lines. I'm going to form the loop. And so now I'm going to take all the strands going out toward the left, which in this case is the single loop. I'm going to take that through the loop that we just created. So we go through it once. There is a single overhand knot, as you can see here. I'll pull it a little bit closer. And then the final step is, again, just do it one more time. Go straight through there. And that is really it. That's a double overhand knot, also known as a surgeon knot. Again, going through one more time will increase the strength a little bit, but given that our leader line is stronger than this knot at the top end of it, even though this is a little bit weaker, it'll still be stronger than the top part of the line-to-line knot. So doing just a double overhand knot or a double surgeon's knot is all that's needed. So now that we have that, we're just gonna go ahead and pull it tight. And same thing as before, just pull it tight with the fingers. As soon as that is as tight as you can go, let go of the tag end, pull it tighter, and I just have my finger in the loop. Now we have completed the knot. Let's go ahead and cut the tag end off. All right, so now we have this loop at the end of our leader, and how we actually can thread this weight on in a way that is really easy to take it on and off, and also is very strong, is that we're going to pinch down this the tip of the loop to create as much of a point as we can, and we're going to put that point through the little eye there on top of the weight. So we're going to go through that. So now this weight is on the loop itself, and then what we're going to do is we're going to take the loop and go around the weight. So really, we just made the weight go through that loop. And what that did is that it completely wrapped the line around the weight. So now we just pull it tight, and this weight is not going to go anywhere. It is there for good. And the really cool thing is, although it can't get off when you're fishing, but if you want to take it off, it is really easy to do so, because all you have to do is pull down on the loop, just push down on it, and that loop can go around the weight, which then you can use to take it off. And to put it back on, let's assume this was a different size weight. I would literally just do this exact same thing, where I just get the loop, go through it, take the weight through the loop, and then pull it tight. Simple as that. Really quick and easy, and as I said before, very strong knot. All right, so now that we have this loop at the end so that we can connect our weights really easy and efficiently, what we need to do is we need to go up our leader line, and this is really all personal preference, and it really depends as far as how far up you go. You want to have your hook up above the weight so that it stays in the strike zone, but it stays above any kind of structure you're in. So if you're in tall grass, if you're in 6-inch grass, then it's probably smart to have about 8 to 9 inches of line above your weight so that your hook can stay above the grass. Where this weight is down in the grass, it will not get snagged. And then the hook can just be sitting there right above the grass, again, to keep it in the strike zone without getting snagged. And same goes for rocks. It really all depends on the type of structure you're fishing and how high above the bottom it sits. In most cases, I just do anywhere from 6 to 10 inches. So we're gonna just pretend that this is about 6 to 10 inches. And we're gonna do the exact same knot. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna hold that point, and then again, just mash it down so that we have an actual point of reference. And we're going to pull out about 4 to 5 inches of line. And so you can see this line is doubled over just as it was before. And we're going to do the exact same thing where we're going to have the doubled over line. The part in my right hand is what is fixed. It's going up toward the rod. And so with the left hand, we're going to just form that little loop, go back from behind, form the loop. And then with this tag end, we're going to go through that loop twice. There's one. And now go through a second time and pull it tight. At this point, I let go of the weight because I want the line going up to the rod and reel to be the strongest point. And so I'm going to just tighten down that. And so now we have a loop on the line. And then as far as connecting the hook, we do the same exact thing as we did with the weight, where we have this loop. And the cool thing about this is we can change our hook sizes without retying, which is very, very, very convenient and time effective. So we have the loop. We're going to put the loop through the eye of the hook. And special thing to note for is when you do go through the eye of the hook, especially if you're using this octopus style hook, where the actual where the hook shank, when the hook shank is straight up, the eye of the hook is curved out away from the point, is that we want to take our loop through the side with the point to the back. So we're going through the point that is curved over. And the reason for that, you'll see in a second, is that to connect the hook, we just put the hook through the loop and then pull the line tight. And so since we came from the front side toward the back, is that now when that loop really firms up with the hook, that basically leaves the hook shank in line with the line. And that's how these hooks were designed. These circle hooks will have the highest hook set to strike ratio when it's aligned in a straight line like this. So this is a proper way to have your circle hook on a dropper rig. And again, the cool thing about using this loop feature is that if you do need to change sizes, if you're changing different size bait, or whatever the reason is you can simply just push down on it, just put the hook back through the loop, and then pull it off. And then we can just grab a different size hook real fast. Here's a little bit larger hook, and just do the exact same thing, where we just go through the eye, pull it through, and then take the hook through that loop, pull the loop tight, and there we have it. It is back. It's a quick change, very, very effective. And again, the fact that all of this can be done with using one single knot, it just makes this very easy where even a young kid can do. So teaching a child this one basic surgeon knot, which is really an overhand knot that can be applied in different ways, can allow the child to really build their own leader assemblies with just knowing one knot. And not only a leader assembly, but one that can actually be quickly and efficiently adjusted for both hook size and weight size as the conditions change out there. So that's the overall assembly. Let me know if you have any questions at all. Again, very, very good assembly for kids, just to get them out there catching fish, put any kind of cut bait on this hook, and no telling what you're going to catch next. Thanks for your time and watching. Please do make some time to just take some kids out fishing, get them introduced to the outdoors, get them hooked on fishing, because it's just a great hobby for them to get involved with that'll keep them out of trouble, and it'll help keep our waterways as clean and protected as possible, with more and more people loving and respecting fishing. Hope you can get out on the water soon and catch some big ones.
There's something about the water that'll give you peace, all by yourself or with your family. Live salt strong and where the